So, yeah, good day, everyone. We hope you guys did have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. So, thank you very much for joining us. This is our weekly edition of the Real Estate Backstory. We're your hosts. This is.
My name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker from Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And my name is Alan Richard. I'm the managing broker at Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners. And we're very, very pleased that you're with us today. We hope that your Thanksgiving was wonderful. We know that ours was as well. So we had a great time. And now it's time to get back into the swing of things. So we're going to be talking about a lot of different really cool things today. And we kind of want to start off talking about sellers. Really, and what sellers are expecting. And so we have some information from some new information from NAR. And so I kind of wanted to kind of go over this with you guys and to be able to share kind of what's happening out there and to really talk about some things for just a moment. So, this is some information from the National Association of Realtors. And it says, what do sellers want most from their realtor, from their real estate professional? And there's a shift, and we need to be very conscious of this shift, because for years, when this study, NAR has done this study for years, and what we found is that for years and years and years, the number one thing was price. Help me price my home competitively. Price. Price has always won.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, so price in the past was the top contender, hands down. Now, what is number one is to help sell my home within the desired time frame. So time frame is now more important than price. And for a lot of realtors, we've got to get our head around this issue and understanding that for our sellers, it's not, our sellers are not just looking at one thing. Of course, price is always going to be important. I'm not trying to negate price by any means.
Well, I think what happened right now too is because the seller is their market, so therefore they know price will come naturally. So that's not a no-brainer to a certain extent.
Well, it definitely could be some of that.
But right now, a lot of your seller is also your buyer. So for them, it's about having that proper time frame so they're not homeless, and that's more important for them,
right,
than the price right now.
But we also have to look at what is, what does time frame really mean? Because like Ming said, for sure, being able to move and sell, but sometimes we're seeing where we're having sellers that are leasing back their property for much longer. By the way, you can't go more than 3 months on most of your financing on there. But we're seeing where timing is now a very important consideration. And so when we're talking to our sellers and discussing selling their home, understanding what their expectations of time frame, how long it's going to take, what are their plans, what's really going on with there, and making sure that we are having a very, very detailed discussion about time frame is really, really important. If you're going to be a good listing agent, you have to make sure that now, not only are we talking price and doing a CMA and those kind of things, yes, we absolutely have to do that as well. Price is still important. We have to move time frame in there as well. Now, some of these numbers do change depending on the age of the seller. Our much older sellers, like our retirees, they really want help. Basically to help them market the home, but price is more important to them than time frame. They're retired, so it makes sense that their time frame needs are not quite.
Well, most of the time they already got a place.
Yeah.
Well, most of the time they already got a place to go. If not have a second home, they're moving down to.
Yeah.
So, and that's why for them, when we mean by helping them market a home, meaning go to the house and let them know what is the minimal fix to maximize the profit.
Yep.
So, and that's what they're looking at.
So, while we're talking about sellers and what's going on with sellers, we also kind of wanted to share with you some other information out there about, what are the most stressful activities for our sellers. A lot of times we think about things like our sellers really want an open house. Our sellers want this, our sellers want that. But we also have to look, we're going to be really good realtors. We have to understand what are their stress points, what stresses our clients out. So we kind of want to run through these also, because the first one is no real shock. Knowing if my home will sell within the desired time frame. I don't know if we've mentioned time frame here recently or not, but time frame is the most stressful issue for our sellers out there. So
Right.
again, I know I'm just beating that dead horse. Time frame is a really important one. Next, uncertainty about being able to sell for the desired price. That's number two. So price is still really, really important. That's not,
Well, and also a good listing agent will advise your client and let them know, say, listen, the market has been trending up for so long, and we're kind of at the top of our pricing structure because interest rate is creeping up.
Yeah.
So, these are conversations you need to have with your seller in order to prepare them what's going on next. So desired price, a lot of people think because my neighbor sold it for 20 grand more, what they're not looking at is what kind of renovation their current home has versus a neighbor's.
Yeah.
And what overall curb appeal and interior. Believe it or not, if your house is decorated well inside, it will go for the premium dollars.
Yeah, staged homes, pretty homes sell faster. Our third most highest stressful activity for our sellers is making improvements. This is one of the things why the iBuyers stand out. So, stand out with a lot, with a big group of our sellers. So that's something as listing agents, we need to be coming with a list of professionals that can help our sellers with that.
Correct.
Next is uncertainty or concern the offer would fall through. We see where deals are dying. So as a listing agent, what are the things that we can do as far as vetting all the offers, calling the lenders and following up on how qualified these folks really are and how serious they are. They're putting in multiple offers on homes, that
and
kind of stuff.
escalation clause along with appraisal gap is always helpful.
Yeah. After that's timing again, and this is timing, and this is the one that we've been seeing a lot. Timing the sale along with the purchase of another home. That's a big one. 46% feel overall lack of control with the selling process and time frame, and a lot of that has to do with, and that's one that's on us. Like if they feel a lack of control, that's because we're not communicating very well to our sellers.
Correct.
Not knowing if buyers are seriously interested or not, keeping the house clean for open houses and tours, that's a big stressor out there. And so trying to keep those showing times short, how long, but a lot of that's going to come to how well you prepared the home, how good it looks, as well as the price, and then negotiating with buyers, and then leaving the house for open tours and pets. Those are the ones that really stress our sellers out. So we really wanted to kind of share that with you because everyone wants to, most realtors want to list to live, list to last, that kind of stuff. And it really is important, but it's more than just listing homes, just being very good at your craft and understanding how we can address pain points for our sellers, what is really important for our sellers. These are really important for us if you're going to be a great listing agent. All right. So Lawrence Young, the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, said, expect a hot winter. Not temperature wise, because it's pretty chilly today. Okay. But we are looking at a unseasonably strong winter. Yep. And we feel that he's right there right now as far as his projections on there. Housing inventories are remaining extremely tight. Inventory of unsold homes fell by 12% in October. So our numbers of listings, while seeing a slight uptick like late summer, then is really kind of, we've outdemanded it again because homes are selling really, really fast. I think that a lot of our buyers know. I know that we've been trying to communicate to you guys, and a lot of our agents are communicating to their buyers. Interest rates are going up. We're gonna see interest rates rising into next year. As that happens, their buying power goes down. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now that leads to the buyers being really aggressive, and I think that really makes a lot of sense. Overall the numbers came in, and even though we're really tight on inventory, we're not seeing a slowdown in volume in the number of homes sold, kind of thing. Right now, or as of last month, 13% year-over-year price increase. So we're still seeing double-digit price increases, all at the same time that housing inventory fell. Days on market was down 18 days in October, which is down almost 21 days from the last year. First time buyers are really getting pushed out of the market. First time buyers is at the lowest percent that we've probably seen
in years.
in ever, probably. I've never seen it below 30, and it's at 29% of all buyers are first time buyers right now. And that's why we're seeing a big
Well,
shift.
they're also being advised about save more money for the appraisal gap, just because, that inventory is just hard to find.
Yep. So investors are still heavy, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then, a lot of folks were talking about where's all these REOs? Where's the distressed homes? None.
It makes up less than 1% of our sale.
Yep, so. Really is. Now, interest rates, we are seeing a rise in inflation, and inflation is going to affect interest rates. Now, interest rates for second week in a row are at 3.1. We really do believe that they're going to be moving higher as the year goes on. One of the things that the Fed is going to be able to do to control, overall the economy is rolling really, really hot. Well, how do you slow an economy down? You raise interest rates, and how they're going to do that is by tapering the bond purchases. And at some point they may actually increase the lending rate in order to kind of shock inflation back down a little bit. So right now, everyone is really hoping that inflation is a transitory thing, and that it is going to just kind of transition back down into that 2 to 3%, which is fine. But running at 5%, that's really, really tough right now. I mean, we're not into the 70s and 80s when inflation was running 20%. That was nuts.
And our mortgage,
not all of us were alive back then. I know that. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
That was tough.
So now, at the same time, mortgage applications were up 5% last week. And this is what we were talking about. Smart buyers know that this is a really good time. Yes, we have less inventory in the market. We also traditionally have less buyers on the market at the same time. Our millennial buyers, even though first-time buyers are down, overall millennial buyers are accounting for 67% of all first-time mortgage purchase applications. Yeah. And 37% of all repeat purchase apps so far for 2021. So the millennials are still making their presence felt in the housing market. So I know that if we had more inventory out there for them at that price point, they'd really be actively engaged in that much more so. Now, unemployment claims fell to 199,000, lowest level since 1969. Yes, I was alive back then too. So all in all, this is really good. So we're definitely down below pre-pandemic levels. Now, speaking of being old, okay, NAR released some changes in some numbers and how that works with like what were some statistics in 1981 versus 2021. So we're talking about a 40-year time span. And what I find is that still a lot of people kind of think that things kind of have always been this way or that kind of stuff. So you can see that overall our first time for the year, I mean, back in 1981, 44% of all of our buyers were first-time buyers. Now it's down to 34%, 29% last month. The age of our first-time buyer used to be 29. Early in the 2000s, it was down in the 26, 27 year range kind of thing, but it's up to 33 now. And that's up a year from last year was at 32. This year's at 33. Single family homes are still driving there. However, I thought this is a really interesting stat is that 82% of buyers bought a home through an agent in 1981. However, 88% of buyers bought a home through an agent in 2021. Now, what's that 12%? That 12% is new construction builders, as well as REOs, not REOs, I'm sorry, builders. You remember the day when your brain just stops working? That's it. So iBuyers and for sale by owners. And so those three together account to about 12% of our market. And it works out to roughly about 4 to 5% for sale by owners, another 4 to 5% for for builders. And then only the iBuyers only account about 2% of our market. So another one that was really, really interesting to me was the age of the repeat buyer. Because the average age of a repeat buyer in 1981 was really young, 36. However, now 56. So your average resale is 56 years old. And so just some interesting information that we wanted to kind of share out there with you. At the same time, we are seeing some new trends. And of course, we're seeing some things that are interrupting some trends, but like NAR also released, what size home are people selling and then buying? And so overall, we're really not changing that much. And where we do change is our younger buyers are moving up. So you can see that our younger millennials
are getting bigger home.
Yep. And then our older millennials
are getting
bigger homes.
downsizing.
No, younger millennials.
Millennials, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So if you look at 56 and above, we're actually downsizing by square footage.
Right. But here's the interesting thing, because when everyone thinks about retiring, so we're talking about the boomers, the 55 to 65 and the 66 to 70. These are our boomers, and these are our retirees. Now, the boomers out there are saying, we want to downsize. We want to get smaller. Turns out, lie. Okay, it's not true, right? Because they're selling around a 2,000 square foot home and they're buying around a 1,920 square foot home. So basically, they're losing a closet.
Well, what happened is that they're downsizing from multi-stairs to a ranch. So ranch is very desirable for them as you age. I know it is for us.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing, is that for a lot of Americans, it's whoever dies with most stuff wins, right? A lot of folks don't want to get rid of all other things that they have. So we hear a lot of, we want to downsize, we want to downsize, we want to downsize. And then we find out, guess what? Not really, because then it's like, well, where are we going to put our piano? Where are we going to do this? And I really want my prayer room or my prayer closet and my full laundry room, yada, yada, yada. It kind of goes on there. So we are seeing where, some of it is just talk. We are seeing where our younger buyers are moving up, but our older sellers, they really aren't changing that much, kind of thing, because we still want our space. At the same time, our new construction homes, we've been seeing a trend where new construction was starting to taper down a little bit, starting to get a little bit smaller. Well, those days are gone. All right, that ship has sailed. And what we're seeing is new construction homes are getting bigger again. And I think part of that is because of the lack of inventory.
Well, no, that a lot of people are still working from home. So therefore, for them, there are businesses that are doing telecommute, and so they're not having a physical building in downtown Atlanta, and they're having their employee working at home. So therefore,
that is very true. But the other thing is that our builders are all building big properties. Our builders are not building, trying to find new construction under 250 is nearly impossible. It's really, really difficult to find new construction. Anything under 200 is like, that's like finding a unicorn, right? Finding new construction under 200, so basically a unicorn.
Non-existent.
But under 250, so when you start moving into, right now our average new construction is 404. That's just kind of median across the board for here in the Atlanta area. And those are not going to be little houses, kind of thing. And so there is a big demand for smaller houses, but we're not seeing where the builders are really meeting that right now, which is largely why we're seeing a lot more interest in condos and townhomes right now as well. So it's coming up on the end of the year. By the way, December is like couple of days away, and then Christmas is like 3 weeks away.
Crazy.
And so at the end of every year, we start getting predictions. And so Redfin, who is a huge real estate data aggregator, okay, they get a ton of information. They're kind of like Zillow. They just suck all this information out. They made some interesting predictions for 2022. We kind of wanted to share with you, and then our thoughts on how those are. And so their first prediction is that mortgage rates are going to rise to about 3.6%, bring in price growth down to earth. I think they're right. I think they're really, really close on right there. So we think that the interest rates will be at 3.6, 3.8 by the end of the year, kind of thing. So that's going to be steady moving up. What we hope it doesn't really hit the fours. I think if it hits, once it hits fours, everybody starts getting shock and that kind of stuff. But it's not unheard of to be able to see interest rates are like that.
Let's put it this way. If a buyer was qualified for $250,000 home at 3%, at 4%, they're only qualified for $200,000. So that's where the purchasing power is going.
Yep. Their second prediction is that new listings will hit a 10-year high, which a lot of that's based because once mortgage or interest rates rise, that will slow demand a little bit. So they'll see new listings come up, which we will see start to flatten out pricing on there. So we think that that's right. Overall, they predict that rents will increase by 7%. I hope it's only 7%. We're seeing where rental rates here in the Atlanta area are 15.
Right.
And so if it tapers down to 15%, that'll be good. But rental rates tend to run, 3 months to a year behind property values, and property values have increased. So number 4, their fourth prediction is that home buyers will relocate to affordable cities. Now for us, we even see some of this right now. When we say affordable cities, we just mean like in the Atlanta area. What are the more, you guys know, what are the more affordable areas? And we can see that there's a lot of growth and a lot of demand happening in the more affordable areas right now. Number 5, people will vote with their feet, moving to places that align with their politics. I don't know about this one. This one, I'm not, I just don't see people like I'm going to move to California because I'm a liberal, and I'm going to move to Texas because I'm a conservative. I don't know.
Think they're going to weight that the politics along with the cost of living in consideration.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. I
mean, we have a lot of New Yorker come down Georgia. So what does that mean?
Well, we appreciate that. Please come. But I guess I'm apolitical when it comes to stuff like that. So to me, that would be silly, but I guess it could be. Prediction 6 is that condo demand will take off. And yes, we're already seeing it. And so like, even in the suburbs, look how many townhomes are starting to get shot up around in the suburbs outside of the cities. We're seeing condo development really, really rolling right now. We also
see apartment complex or condo development that is strictly for investors.
Yep.
So
number 7 is that home buyers will take climate risk seriously. I hope so. But we're not seeing a lot of that right now. Right now, it's more, at least in our area, we feel that it's much more about trying to find the home that you really want. I don't think anyone's like, oh, I'll buy here because it's going to have less impact than on climate. I don't see that right now. Could it? Maybe. That's their prediction, not mine. Number 8, housing policy will become central to political battles over climate change. This is upper level stuff here. I think that, we saw a lot of things coming in the Build Back Better plan as it relates to housing and things like that. Where that ties in with climate change, I'm a little, down here at the ground level, at the sales side, I'm just not sure I see that nearly as much. Their ninth prediction is that the iBuyers are going to focus on serving a niche, and I really believe that that's very, very true. If you look what just happened with Zillow backing out, that's a big player. And when Zillow, who has more real estate data than anybody, can't predict real estate values, that means that they're really going to be, instead of trying to do this whole market domination, we're going to change the way that real estate is being sold. I really do see them kind of tailoring and really focusing on their niche. Yep. And then prediction 10 is the Department of Justice is going to crack down on how real estate agents are paid. And this is something that we've got to be ready for in this industry. For a long time, especially for buyer's agents, in part, we told folks falsely that, look, if you use me and it's free and that kind of stuff.
For buyer's agent, I won't charge anything. And you know what? We're seeing listing out there right now. It says, if you want your commission, get it from the buyer.
And so, at the same time, there was a new study by the National Association of Realtors also, and they said, what percentage of folks are paid by the seller? Well, agent compensation. It says that 75% are paid by the seller, 11% are paid by the buyer and seller, 7% are paid by the buyer only, 3% are other, and 5% don't know. And this to me is completely on our shoulders, right? Because why would our clients not understand where our compensation comes from? We're not doing a very good job here. And this is one of those that's a really important issue. Moving forward, buyer agency has the potential to really be challenging and to be changing as we move forward. The federal government is coming in. We're seeing where a lot of listings, like Ming said, are being listed at no compensation. So, the days of just kind of doing this, hey, use me and you only have to pay for me, and then you have no cost. And so to start off with, understand that buyer compensation doesn't make sense when you're outside of our industry, right? Because what we want folks outside of our industry to understand is that, hey, I represent you in this transaction, but you don't pay for anything. Now, no, who believes that there's that kind of relationship out there where, you know, the agent's going to get paid, but you don't pay anything.
It's a seller's fee.
Is there, and then, well, if the seller's paying for you, then don't you owe the seller something? Are you really being honest with me, kind of thing? And at the end of the day, though, who buys the house? The buyer buys the house. And part of buying the house is all the other fees and costs that go along with it. So when they bought the house, they are paying that agent fee as well.
I think traditionally, because the fact that there's so many costs for a buyer to purchase the home, so therefore seller was given compensation because they know that the listing agent is not going to always bring the buyer to, 95% of property sold or co-opt.
Right.
So because the industry standard, it has been long known that seller pays the commission for on both sides. But with the market the way it is right now, don't be surprised if a seller refuses to pay on both sides.
Yep.
And
so now when we do buyers consultations, when we meet with our buyers, we need to discuss compensation. And first of all, when we do that right up front, everybody knows what's going on. People understand. No one thinks that we work for free. And if you're telling folks that you work for free, you are discounting all the hard work we really do.
Mhm.
I love you. I'm not working for free. And if you're working for free, that doesn't make any sense. So we need to be explaining really what's going on. What are these true costs? How does this whole process work? Who do we represent? Who do we owe fiduciary interest to? This is a really important factor. Now, you also now need to be discussing with your buyers. Listen, when we submit an offer on a property and it doesn't offer a co-op, I still get 3%. And so then that would have to needs to be, maybe we increase the purchase price by 3%, but I have to get paid.
Well, honestly, this actually as well holding the buyer's agent accountable. They're no longer, a buyer agent get a buyer sign a brokerage agreement and do absolutely nothing. In the past we've seen that. This makes the buyer's agent really work for that contract and that commission.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to get your business a little bit here. So has your business casual gone too far, right? Because I know that we've all been working from home and during these uncertain times, like I see how some of y'all roll up in here, right? I'm not trying.
I will tell you, I actually went to do a showing the other day and I saw an agent and it was in a ragdoll jean and a shirt that's is faded, showing a $700,000 home. For me, I understand there's time that our client call us and we're right in the middle of yard work and you explain to your client, hey, I'm actually not dressed to show houses. Would you mind? If the buyer doesn't mind, I get it. But on the average, you need to dress for success.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen agents on listing appointments with slippers. Okay. I don't mean like slip-ons. I mean like fuzzy slippers. I mean like the whole 9 yards. So,
But if that is your marketing technique, I mean, more power to you. But all we're saying is that if you want to be treated professionally and also be respected professionally, dress the part.
Dress for your market, dress for your age, dress for your niche. So, if your niche is young, hip, trendy millennials, well, then dress like a young, hip, trendy millennial. Or if you're, just match your market on that kind of stuff. So, we're not trying to get anybody's business too much, but you do got to look at, especially when we're starting, people are judging you whether you like it or not. I know that we're in this time when look, everybody's the same. We don't judge anyone. Wrong. We judge everybody, kind of thing. And so, especially when we're starting to talk about compensation, it's an important issue, kind of thing.
Judging more than it is that how much respect do you have for your client when you look like you just roll out of bed.
Yeah. So we're seeing national rents again continuing to go up. National rent growth is at 15% for 2 bedrooms, 12% for 1 bedrooms, which is, you'll notice, exceeding what property value increases are going. So rental rates are exceeding where property values are going. Here in the Atlanta area, 1 bedroom's up 15% over last year and 2 bedrooms up 15.3. So you can see that the median One bedroom rent here in Atlanta is $1,680, and 2 bedrooms is $2,190. That's for the Atlanta area. Rents are, so the days of I'll just rent are really, really getting shorter. The ability of folks thinking, well, I'll just wait for the market to change. Well, listen, if the market changes, interest rates are going up. Their buying power is going down. So that's not a great bet for them right now. And they're and to stay where they're at is going to hurt them, kind of thing. New survey came out saying more Americans don't want the cheer-ins. So we don't want kids. That's gonna be a problem, y'all. Well, I mean, it's not a problem because I'm not trying to make anybody go out and propagate, but by the same token, this will have impacts on housing. It's not going to have an impact on housing today, but knowing that right now, especially young adults who are younger than 50, said they're either not at all likely or very unlikely to have children one day. And so it is, that's going to have resounding effects for the suburbs and things like that.
And I will tell you too, that if you look at the workforce currently, and then a reduction in workforce, we're not going to grow. Not only that, then you'll have aging parents. We'll be there one day.
I mean, we're not there yet, but it's just, it is a trend we've already seen for years.
Well, and you have nothing supported. So that can be an issue down the road.
Yep. So what are the best home improvements and the worst home improvements? Your best return on investment for your home improvements is the number one is replacing your garage door. After that is a minor kitchen remodel. And that is, like sprucing it up, not a full one. Versus, and then
whether it's the painting to shabby chic cabinets and changing the hardware,
countertops, those kind of things.
Nothing major as far as structural or replacing the cabinets.
Now, also manufactured stone veneer, basically the outside of your home. Those are really good returns on improvement. I mean, returns on investment on there. Now, the worst ones. First one,
major kitchen remodel.
Gutting the kitchen and putting a new one in. Now, we have folks, but both for like, and what I want you to notice about all these, both major kitchen remodels, bathroom additions, primary suite additions, these are big deals. Now, we have a lot of sellers that want to do these, and we just need to be honest with our sellers and say, listen, if you're going to do this, you're not doing this to get more money, okay? Because you're only going to recapture about half of what you spend on a major kitchen renovation. So you put $40,000 into a kitchen, you might increase your property value by $20,000. That's kind of roughly right there. Same thing on all your really heavy improvements. I don't care, no improvements are going to give you a dollar for dollar improvement, a dollar per dollar return on investment. It's very, very rare to have those. Some are a lot better, but the bigger the job, the lower traditionally that's going to be. So, hey, right now we have a lot of folks go to Christmas lights. Please encourage your sellers to perform a home inspection, because a lot of times, we just did the same thing. So we're out there, and I'm like, did you see the dry rot around our windows? And we had I plugged in some things, and the electrical breaker went pop, kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? So, looking at our gutters and, dry rot around the windows, soffit, how's your chimney look? We've lived in our house like 20 years. Last time I looked at my chimney, I don't even remember until now. Yeah. And so, but a lot of our sellers get into that, they get house blind. And so now's a really good time while they're putting up decorations to really pay attention to that. One of the things that a lot of our sellers want to know is, what should I do, and that kind of stuff. These would be great topics for social media right now.
And little paint goes a long way to prevent rotting and also defer maintenance.
It protects it. Yeah. Guess what our newest shortage is? Glass.
Windows.
Can't get windows.
Yep.
I mean, if you look around, you'll even see this right now. Several of our new construction neighborhoods will be sitting there with house wrap on them. And that's because windows go in before the siding goes on. And so we've been seeing windows already behind previously. And now they're saying it's going to go, well, right now, window delays run from 15 to 45 weeks. That's almost a year, folks. Okay. In order to get windows in. So if you are needing windows for a project and for a property, order them yesterday, basically, is what that comes down to.
Yep.
So investors are hot and heavy, but what are investors investing in? Well, this is the breakdown. 74% of all investors are investing in single family residentials. 16% are investing in condos and co-ops, another 3% in townhomes and multifamily units. That kind of stuff is down around that 2 to 3% range down there. But you can see that the biggest share of this is single family residential. But I want you to understand why this is. When we talk about wealth in the United States, wealth is highly tied to home ownership.
Yeah.
And when you talk about, wanting to help, whether you're trying to help minorities or young millennials or anyone to really gain wealth, to grow market share, it comes down to owning single family homes. When you own your property, first of all, inflation doesn't hit you as much because your rents are not going to increase when you have a single family home. The reason we see so many investors moving into this space and being a prominent part of this space and actually increasing to some of the highest numbers ever is because that's where wealth is tied up in. So yeah, I know it stinks that we're having to compete with them, but understand that they're there because that's where smart money goes,
right?
Kind of thing. Atlanta had the highest share of homes sold in the third quarter sold to investors. Bad news. I know it makes it that much harder for everybody else, but understand that they're doing it because it's really smart for our, hopefully for them,
actually, just
for
remember,
anybody.
Investor is there to make money.
Yeah. Greg sends out a newsletter every quarter, month, that kind of stuff. And so Greg came out and said, and they had an interesting little blurb. I just wanted to share it with you. A license law course is not the same as an ethics course, and an ethics course does not meet your license law requirements. So a lot of agents think, well, I mean, I took my ethics course, that should count for law. It doesn't. You have to be a realtor in order for the ethics course to do anything. There's a lot of ethics courses that don't even have CE credit with them necessarily. Now, there's a lot that do, but there's a lot that don't. Like when we teach ethics, it'll give you 3 hours of CE credit as well, but that doesn't cover your license law requirement. You still have to have 3 hours, and you're required to have 3 hours out of every 36 hours has to be for license law on your 4-year renewal. So understand that the ethics course requirement it's required every 3 years. And my lovely partner here teaches that class. So if you need it, but here's your deadline. It's coming up the end of this year. December 31st is when it has to get in.
And you guys got to allow whoever the school is to have time to record it into correct. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use a new GAR form because you have not satisfied the ethics requirement.
So get your stuff straight, kind of thing. All right. This week we have 2 CE classes coming up. They're on Thursday, both same time. So my lovely bride is going to be teaching fast dollar home sales with staging in our Conyers office. And at the same time, Georgia MLS is going to be teaching virtually an introduction to Connect MLS. And
hey guys, we
need to get that because it is throwing some monkey wrenches into Paragon and Georgia MLS.
Yeah, Paragon and Georgia MLS Connect is not playing nice together.
Well,
and
they fixed a lot of the problems already. They're starting, and I know that they are. And they are working.
Still, the fact is, what I have to do is I have to go into Paragon and Connect MLS and do both of them at the same time, just ensure the data are correct.
Yeah, so we are having some growing pains as it goes there. We understand that that's happening out there. They have already fixed a lot of those issues. So I'm trying to be very pro Georgia MLS right now because I know that they're working on this.
Well, it's like anything else. When you introduce new software, it's always going to have a growing growth thing. So please do join us for the Georgia.
Please get your training.
Virtual.
Is what we're saying. Prepare yourself.
So you're not waiting until it's time to write a contract and being flustered because you didn't get the proper training.
Yep. And we hope you guys have a great week.
I hope you had a great Thanksgiving and Christmas coming around the corner. So y'all gear up and go ahead and do your business planning before New Year starts.
If you need some time, you can find us online, max1.rock/chat. I always hang out for a couple of minutes, answer any questions you guys have, that kind of stuff. But call, text, smoke signals, we answer it all. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great Monday.